Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Fateless podcast episode. I've got a few different guests joining me today. We've got Bran and Zox, who are returning guests here to the channel. So good to see fellas again. And then we've got a new guest in Mongooli. Good to have you. Could you maybe
Thank you
just
very
give a
much.
quick rundown and introduce yourself and talk about what brought you into the Godforge scene, your gaming history, and your channel, your content, and that good stuff?
Absolutely. My name is Dan. I run the Mongooli show. You can find me at Twitch, YouTube as that. I also have a movie podcast on YouTube, Mongooli's movie show. Anyways, I am not much of a raid player, to be perfectly honest. I played a lot of Marvel Strike Force, but I found out about this game through a friend of mine who did play a lot of raid. She's like, you know what? I know you didn't play a lot of raid. This game seems like it could be up your alley. You might want to give this a try. So I have been coming at this from a bit of a different angle than most people. I think a lot of people are more raid players. This game feels very raidy, but it's interesting. I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, I make videos on games, but more just learn to play stuff than like expert level advice.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks. And we'll have links to all of their channels down below and all that. So Zox, Bran, good to see you. Are you both still rolling with the content? How's that been going? We'll start with you, Zox.
Oh, man, yeah, things have been good, man. I gotta say, I like mainly do like turn-based stuff anyway, so that's what I primarily cover. So this has been on the, I- would I say bucket list? Yeah, I'd probably say bucket list. I've been like honestly anticipating like really diving into this alpha specifically, but yeah, I will say it's definitely it's been well, it's been going well.
Nice. How about
Yeah.
you, Bran?
Actually been on kind of a hiatus. Alpha kind of stirred that back, so I've been recording some videos, tried to stream, but my computer was not able to handle that. So this kind of brought me back, and being invited to be on the show, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's kick it into gear. I'm gonna record some more videos since I'm already out here, have everything set up. So
Cool.
yeah, excited to get back into it for sure.
Nice. And I know right now is kind of an exciting time because it's the first time we're kind of releasing the Godforge Alpha out into the wild and letting players kind of get their hands on it for the first time. So have all of you been kind of playing the alpha? What stage are you at? So this episode's going to come out a week after it's recorded, like the next Thursday or 6 days. So the alpha just launched, so most people are probably around like level 40 or level 50, or if they've been playing a lot, they're around level 100 plus. So
Yeah.
how's that been going for all of you here? And when we're on like day 2, day 3 of the alpha. We'll start with you, Bran.
It's been going pretty well. I'm at 95, I think. So I was in the top, like I was like number 26 at one point on the leaderboard. And I was like, that's cool. I'd only played for like an hour or two. And but now definitely hit a wall. And I have had some pretty poor luck with my drops. So I am just trying to do what I can to keep pushing.
Well,
So
elaborate. What's poor luck with your drops mean? We need this feedback here.
yeah, so I have one legendary right now, and that's Aphrodite. And she's like kind of in my team. I'm kind of pushing the Isolde build because might be using some exploits for the alpha. But Isolde has some things going on with her with her buffs and her passive. I found that it is amazing. You can get so much healing done with her and stuff. At first, I didn't like her. Then I got her passive, saw that it worked with the defenders, and I've been playing towards that, and it allowed me to cheese a lot of stuff so far. So I'm mainly running just uh, defenders, Isolde, Beowulf right now, and Aphrodite just to get some more hits with Beowulf off. Um, for I'm trying to grind level 90 right now on
And
auto,
it
which
worked until you got closer to 100, and then you hit a wall.
yeah, right at 90, I had some difficulty beating 90, and then I was able to beat it with Beowulf. So I built him up and used it specifically since he's like a boss slayer. I was like, I'm gonna just do that and see if it'll work. Because I was using Gilgamesh, which I mainly use for the waves. But Beowulf worked for Fafnir, sorry, not Fenrir, Fafnir, and it worked really well. And then the next waves, it's like so hard. They're not like I can pass them slowly but surely, but there definitely is a big increase in the difficulty. Which so now I'm just trying to work and level up for that and stuff. So I'm having to go back and grind and everything like that. So yeah,
Okay,
but
cool. And
I'm
Zox, you look like
having
you
a
were shaking your
blast.
head.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks,
Oh
Bran. No,
yeah.
you're good.
Oh, no, I was just laughing because I was like, like I definitely agree with Bran on like once you get into those upper floors, it's like one character that'll get thrown in, and it's like, wait, this is doing a little bit extra here. I think I can't remember what support it was, but it was like she kept like healing and shielding herself, and I was like, oh man. I was like, I need a character that can like either stop her from healing or like something, because she was like 1v4ing my team, and I was just like, okay. And then she would revive. I forgot where. I think maybe it was
Isis?
Cleopatra,
Isis.
or was it
Isis.
Yeah.
Isis?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. She would then revive, and I'm like, okay, all right. So, I'm in the same boat. I have one legendary. But I, I will say, and I think I had spoke to Dan about this legendary specifically, and a lot of the other CCs in the CC chat. Heimdall. Um,
Mhm.
Heimdall is really, really OP. Like he really like I don't even know how else to say. Like he's just really OP. So my team is like, I guess like the way I was kind of approaching it was like, okay, just some of the traditional things to kind of think about, like, okay, enemies are faster than me, so maybe I need to do things to either slow them down or prevent them from getting turns. So I've been using Scotty quite a bit. With the freeze, she has the slow. And that, like, if like it doesn't really matter how strong you are, if you can't hit me, then I just kind of get a free pass, and then I'm able to deal more damage to you. But Heimdall makes it to where, like, even if you do get hit, he can make your team counterattack. They also like don't take as much damage because he shields them too. And then on top of that, he himself is a powerhouse and hits really hard. So he's kind of been carrying him, like paired with my Ramses, really. That's like who I picked for the start. And Ramses has the acid, so that's like the poison procs and stuff like that. And just kind of building into like those like builds specific to like I think Bran was saying it, like where the defender gets hit, it heals the party. Like that's
Yeah,
like a
from
really,
Isolde.
really
Yep.
cool. Yeah, like that's been like super helpful as well. So
Yeah, Heimdall is one of the better examples of what to expect closer to like beta and down the road in terms of
yeah.
like a hero that has the VFX and has a top tier model and has a kit with a lot going on and some mechanics to help you build around. So Heimdall is a good example of one of those, and that's why he seems super strong because he's been
Yeah.
implemented kind of to that level. So maybe some damage tuning to go on there because he's supposed to be a defender. He's got the defense up and the shield and the protect and all of that. So maybe we'll have to tune his damage down a little bit if he's also carrying DPS wise. But but Mongooli, how about you? How's it been going so far?
So I've got a bit less time than these guys, unfortunately. So I'm at around level 41, but I also have Heimdall already. So maybe my pulls are actually being incredibly good to me. I just got him about an hour ago, as well as shoot, what was the other guy's name? I got a Musashi. I just got unlocked Musashi like literally right before we got live. So I've got 2 epics, 1 legendary. Feeling pretty okay with it, knowing that you guys also only have 1 legendary. You're like twice as high up as I am. So like, all right. Yeah, I just unlocked Heimdall. He's been fantastic so far, but I'm still on the point of the game where I'm kind of just autoing and winning everything that I come across. Started off with Lady Zoc. Is that how you pronounce that? Lady Zoc?
I think it's like technically shock or
Jock?
something.
Okay.
I'm a Midwestern American. I'm horrible
Yeah.
at like that. I am not the arbiter of how to pronounce things. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Start off with her, and I unlocked Ramses on my like 3rd fight or something. So I was like, all right, get 2 of the starters right off the bat. So maybe I've just been super lucky with my pulls, but I'm still in the point of the game where like I just went through level 40 and I've been autoing almost everything up into this point. So I haven't hit that level yet where I have to really concentrate on like, okay, I need to build this specific team to do this specific thing. It's just been kind of working. Maybe that's dumb luck. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I haven't quite got to that point yet where I'm like, okay, I need to really buckle down, really figure out exactly what perks to put on what character, what to level up, what to focus on. It's just like, these are my highest level characters. We're just going to roll with them and see how we go. And
yeah,
so far it's been good.
yeah. And I was trying to play from the perspective of a gamer that doesn't work for Fateless when I played. So I was
Yeah.
kind of trying to like auto until I can't, and then go back and improve. For me, the sticking point was I think it was when I finally had to stop and like really think, it was level 50, the Golden Guardian. Is that what happened to you guys? I could basically auto and chill until then, but then I had to kind of think a little bit and grind.
Yeah, I think it was about there, because I also think like I forgot what her name is, but she's like the turn meter pusher. She's a rare unit. But she also can like remove debuffs, and I'm like looking right at her, but I don't know her name. Um, but basically, like she doesn't like innately heal. So like most of like the progression push, like you kind of like literally get to go through without healing. And then once things actually start to retaliate and hit you back, then it's like, wait a minute, I actually
Isn't
need
that also
something.
Isolde? Isn't that
Isolde.
also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah.
wondering about.
It
Oh
sounds,
yeah,
like
there,
Isolde
yeah,
is pretty strong for a rare here.
She
yeah,
is
She's not
actually
bad.
fantastic, especially right now.
yeah.
I know I talked about it a second ago, but the like exploits and stuff. So her buff right now is applying twice. I don't think it's supposed to do that. It's
Oh,
always applying to Tristane, which I don't think is supposed to happen, but it's applying to Tristane and someone else, and it applies doubly as well. So every time it applies to Tristane, it applies
Well, she
twice.
is supposed to have a tandem with Tristane, so
Hmm.
she is always supposed to give it to Tristane. That's
Oh,
true.
really?
And
Okay,
and
okay.
and I think what might be happening is I believe she has an awakening where it places men for 2 turns instead of 1. So maybe
Uh,
is it placing men for 1 turn and also men for 2 turns
no,
and also on Tristane?
it's placing men for one turn every single time. So it
Okay.
places it twice for one turn. So that might be what it
Okay.
is. Or no, maybe it's twice. No, because it's literally running in the background. Tristane has 4 men's right now. 2 are at one turn and 2 are at 2 turn. So,
Okay. Okay.
but whoever has mend on it as well triggers as if they're a defender to trigger her passive. So even Gilgamesh, it would apply to Gilgamesh as well. If he had mend on, he would be treated as a defender and trigger her
Oh,
passive to
interesting.
heal.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a bug
yeah.
we'll have to look at.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't even made the report yet because I'm like I want to because there's also something weird where
Because
if
I
she
want to
gets
abuse it for, okay, I see how it
Exactly.
is. Okay,
yeah,
I see how it is.
because there's also this thing with Isolde where if she gets hit by a certain character in a certain way, it kills her without actually registering her as dead. So she'll stand there, you can use her ult. She has full health, but she's dead technically. Like her portrait is
Oh,
like
that's weird.
grayed out and stuff, and her passive doesn't trigger. So and it's just like random. So like everybody will like be completely fine from the hit because they have the heals and stuff, except she just goes down and can't trigger and stuff.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm trying to like figure out how to auto 90 because sometimes it just during the run she'll get hit and she dies in the wave and there's nothing I can do. So it's like that's the hard part. So yes. Am I exploiting her? Absolutely. But I'm also trying to figure it out so I can report it so it can get fixed. So
Yep,
um
that's the beauty of alpha for sure.
absolutely.
But at least it sounds like it hasn't been like crashing a ton or any of that crazy stuff, right?
No,
No.
no,
no,
like actually usage wise, haven't had any problems at all whatsoever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
definitely.
had one issue when we first started, and it was honestly my issue. It wasn't even the games. I told Susie my capital name or my email with capitals and then put it in without capitals, and it didn't work. But like that was a minor issue. It's my fault. As soon as that's worked, I've had no issues with it. I've been playing on my cell phone and the PC,
Mhm.
no problems whatsoever, which is pretty amazing for an alpha.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
absolutely.
Okay, well then while I'm here with you guys, do you have any burning input or burning topics or anything you want to kind of say here in the video or discuss for a little bit? I'm just kind of opening it
Um,
up to any of you to jump in if you'd like.
yeah, I would say I guess so far, because I guess that's like kind of the thing with my background is like I've played so many like turn-based games. Um, I I just want to start off with something I actually will say I like a lot. Um, it's actually the imprint system. I actually really like it a lot because it seemed pretty like open to where like you could really make a character like if they have some aspect of their kit do something, you can kind of use the imprint system to kind of give them maybe another layer of something else or to play into another character's kit that maybe wouldn't necessarily correlate. So like for example, I think I had got like a imprint for Ramses and it was like basically if you hit into acid characters you deal more damage, right? So it's like I can put that on any DPS really at that point and now because he's constantly procking that, I'm scaling my damage, but it just kind of gives you that accessibility to just kind of do whatever you want. And I think that that's like what I was like really trying to play into. Like I was like, okay, I have this one legendary. I'll use the one legendary, but I really want to see how far I can actually push the lower rarity unit. So I was like using like the composite bowman like all the way up till like probably like 50 or 60 something, and he just started getting one tap by everything. But it was like really cool to see that you could kind of find value in characters like that, because if he gets kills, he gets an extra turn. So I was like, okay, let me try this on him, and then I seen his damage like really pick up, being able to deal more damage into like the acid and stuff like that. So I feel like that's something that I'm like really excited to see you guys develop more, because it just seems like it's so intricate already. So yeah, I just want to kind of give that feedback on that.
Awesome. And for anybody that's not in the alpha or whatever, the imprint system is basically you can extract an essence of a hero's passive and then imprint that on a weapon, and you can basically equip that weapon on whoever. So you can take an aspect of the passive and then kind of mix and match and customize your different builds within your roster. So yeah, awesome. Thanks for that
I wanna-
feedback. Go
To
ahead.
piggyback off of that, say the weapon system as well, in conjunction with the imprint, because that's one of the things. I made a video on it as well that I really like, is that you guys are stacking passives. So like pretty much most characters have a passive, then the weapons have a passive, then the imprints have a passive. I love that because it allows you to, like Zach said, build a character however you want. Like right now, I'm building Beowulf as if he's a brawler. I am going for HP, and then using a weapon, I think it's Heka, to then transfer 5% of his HP into attack. And then I don't even think I have an imprint on him yet, because it's just been working. Like he's dealing like, which I don't know in relative to like the upper levels, the amount of damage, but he's like dealing 150k plus each hit. Like
Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah.
That's
he's
a lot.
like on 90, he's like can get a third of the boss's health in one hit. So like it's crazy. And I have him in like, I think, one actual like equipment set and nothing else. It's just the rest is attack or HP, and I'm just trying to buff him up and stuff like that. But I really like how you can mix and match that. Like you have your classes, you can build a brawler like a brawler, but you can also build a brawler like an invoker, and it still works. Like in vice versa. So I really,
Yeah.
really am enjoying the systems that you've implemented to add so many passives, because that's my favorite part. And I know it has like also the stats on weapons and stuff help out a lot. Like doing my Isolde's weapon helped get her HP up a lot and stuff. So yeah, that's one of my big things that I'm
Yeah, and
loving the crafting.
right now in alpha, you're only getting, like 45 whatever possible imprints. When the game launches, it's going to be like triple that. So
Oh,
there'll be a
yes.
lot more. There's a lot more like cool ones that you haven't even seen yet that are either universal or super niche for fun synergies and builds and all that. So it'll be fun when those are all out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
Mongooli, did you have any burning
Kind of
topics?
building off what those guys just said, is coming from a game as restrictive as Marvel Strike Force, and maybe this is something that's in Raid Shadow Legends, and you're all going to be looking at me like, yeah, of course. But it feels like when you build a character in Marvel, like say you have Spider-Man, there's really only 5 different builds, and everybody's going to use one of those 5 builds, not even try it with the other ones, because there's one definitive, this is what works best. So it feels like if you've all got a max Spider-Man, you've all got the exact same character. With the imprint system, you got a bit more variety you can choose, so you can actually like potentially be like, okay, this is the coolest version of Heimdall that I was able to make. And then, somebody else might be like, well, why didn't you try this? Because this will actually buff him that much better. You can change him into not a completely different character, but just tweak him a little bit more. Be like, oh, that's actually really cool. And that's only what we were dealing with in the alpha so far. Like, as you just mentioned, you didn't have that many more choices in the main game. It just feels like you can actually change the characters a bit more than in games like this that I'm used to, which is a really cool feeling of that freedom. But also, even when you're in the battle, like I've not seen a game like this before where you can choose whoever's ready to go with their ultimate at any time. In fact, you can use all 5 of your ultimates on one turn if you're just like, man, we are close to death here. We just got to make this last push. That's really cool. Like, again, maybe that's normal, but for me, coming from my background, I've not seen that before, and be able to be like, okay, it is Ramsey's turn, but I really need to get Achilles' ultimate out there. I can just do that. I can just shift over to the character that I need. Feels incredible. Like,
How do you guys feel
I
about
don't know. I don't know what to
how do
say.
you guys feel about that, by the way? Because that's something we've been wondering as a team is, should it have to be someone's turn to use their ultimate? Or
I love it the
No.
way that it is.
No.
I love it the way that it
Yes,
is.
100%.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
perfect
like
the way it is.
that's definitely something that I think can spice things up, because I think like I would think it would be a little bit different if you guys didn't have like a stat line to actually build into for it, but it is an actual stat. So like for example, like I feel like there's like, there's like the thing that you could like utilize as like an excuse, like, oh, this is just made to be OP, but like you can actually invest more into certain things to give more of that generation of that energy for your ultimate to get it quicker. So I feel like even when you're looking at PvP, that's going to be the variation in like what people might do in terms of like building differently. So they're gonna, it maybe for PvE, this unit, you might not really be trying to generate their ult too much. You might be trying to like build more into the actual skills they have so that they can like, sustain or deal more damage. But in PvP, you might want to be fast and maybe proc that ult that does a speed down and like actually lowers their defense or freezes them, like with Scotty, or for example. So like that's, I feel like, kind of going to allow players to create different synergies and strategies. And I think if the goal in mind is to like not create a singular meta, I will say, like, from my experience, like that's generally the issue most games have. There's like one meta, and that meta is so like, it's so defined that it's just like, if you don't play into it, you could hate it, but you kind of have to play into it if you want to actually get stuff in the game. So it's like there's nothing for you to do.
Well, what I was worried about is, do we end up in a situation where like meta, in PvP is like you only build one hero with speed, everybody else with initiative. You get one person's turn, and then you just go alt, and match over. So like that's the challenge. But we want a different way for people to play, and we want to build defenders and invokers to have that in mind to counter those sort of metas. So you in the live game, you'll see passives from defenders that like automatically proc based on things happening. So it doesn't have to be their turn to defend their team.
Yeah.
But that's just a consideration that was in my mind of, gosh, I hope it doesn't break the game. Like just letting people ult whenever they want and pop
Well,
it
even
off
if
them.
it was, even if you made it so that you could only ultimate once, as opposed to ultimating all 5 of your characters on one turn, but you could choose whose ultimate you were going to use. So even if it's Lady Zock's turn, you still want to use Ramsey's ultimate, but that counts as Lady Zock's turn. Even that still gives you player a certain amount of choice, right? As opposed to just like, no, it's this person's turn, you have to use this person.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I mean, and also like to your point of like also like the counter balancing, right? Like I feel like even with that, like you can easily have characters that exist within the game that just straight up like just them existing reduces ultimate gauge, right? Like so it can kind of counteract, and then there's like certain percentages that players will have to kind of keep in mind. Like, okay, I can maybe get as close as I possibly can to full, but I still have to actively do something. Like I might still have to take a turn or 2 turns before I can get that ultimate gauge. So there's like different ways I feel like to counteract it without it just being like, and I think that that's the rough thing. Kind of like in the game that I'm playing right now. Like I think we all went into it knowing that there was going to be one definite meta to start, because it's kind of like you have to kind of have a base to kind of revolve the meta. Like it's like speed is usually the start to most metas. It's like speed is king. And then from there, you can kind of build into counter meta. So it's like, okay, you have your bruisers that like now can deal with like these fast cleavers. And then from there, you might have to now build a counter to the bruisers because now they're doing like really OP stuff. So I feel like it's always like trying to create a balance to where it's a revolving door. But if you guys are able to simultaneously have it start where you can just have that counterbalance already just exist, that would be something I don't think I've actually even seen in the gacha space at all. And I think that that actually would be a perk to drawing in more players, because I think that that's the thing that a lot of players that I've at least talked to look for, is being able to have the ability to go into a game and say like they like or prefer the bruiser style, and they can just immediately start building into that. Because again, I think it's kind of like the accessibility, like choice thing. Like if I don't really have the luck on speed rolls or don't really want to build speed, but then that's the meta, then it kind of can like kill the fun for a lot of players initially, I feel
Well, that was
like.
also the like, a lot of the reasoning behind it is because a lot of these games end up just becoming a speed race, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I build 400 speed, I go first, I win. Whereas, we were trying to think of a way to like, okay, you can go, super fast, but you're never going to have your ultimate. So like, you're never going to get your most impactful ability. Whereas in a game like Raid, it's like, as long as I go fast, I can do my most impactful ability right away. Whereas in our game, just going fast won't be good enough. You won't be able to do your most impactful ability right away. You're going to need to also manage making sure you have your ultimate in order to access that. But that's the goal. It's just going to be tough to balance, and it's going to require a lot of feedback.
Well,
Yeah,
and so here's
yeah.
the thing is I'm like at floor 90 or whatever, which I don't know how high that is or whatnot, but like I haven't cared about speed or initiative at all yet. I've literally just been caring about like HP and attack and everything like that. And yet I'm able to get this far into the game, which is technically like what mid game ish, like early mid game, whatnot. And with very little difficulty. Like I said, getting up to floor 90 wasn't that difficult. After that, obviously, I might have to start looking into those, but the whole speed and initiative, like I have Aphrodite and I use her when I have my 5-mans, but I don't use her otherwise, and I haven't even built her as speed. She's just fast naturally. Fun fact, you can only use a person's ult once in a turn. Can't use it twice. Found that out with Aphrodite. Um, and so, but like she can get that fast with buffs and stuff like that. And like I said, I haven't even built her for speed. I think I have like one equipment on one of my guys that has speed on it. Otherwise, it's all just base stats and stuff, trying to see what I can do with it. So the fact that I can get this far without having to be like, oh, I have to speed tune this or whatnot and everything like that is awesome. Because, yeah, definitely, I plan on doing that, but I don't have to, and yet I can still progress. I can still do stuff to a pretty decently high level. And then that's one of the things I was going to say too is the progression of this game is awesome. Like I love it. I think that even though that there is a big spike at 90, there was a big spike at 60 and 30 and everything like that. Like, but it progressively allowed you to do that. And I know this is like at a very fast pace, like compared to like the actual game when the game releases. We're not going to all have, entire legendary teams and everything like that, a couple days in. So like I just think that the progression in the timeline that the main game will be in is awesome. So
Cool.
little side tangent. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for the feedback. How have you felt about like the leveling of like food and like, because one thing we've wondered is like, when someone ranks up, should we reset them back to level 1 like in raid, so it's like less confusing? It's like, okay, a new rank is always level 1, or how has that felt kind of so far? Has it made sense? Is there anything that has caused a hiccup where you're like, huh, what is this?
Actually, I'm interested to know, Mongooli, because you come from was it Marvel Strike Force,
Marvel Strike Force, yeah.
right? And isn't correct me if I'm wrong, Marvel's like how old now? Like 10 years old? Or is
It just had its 7th anniversary.
seventh?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
about 7 or 8. Yeah.
7. Okay. So I'm interested to know from your perspective, because I know that game has like different systems for like ascension, leveling, and stuff like that. Like, what would you say would be something that from a player that doesn't come from turn base, what would be something that you would say would draw like your audience in, like from like your game, basically, like as far as like
Interesting.
leveling systems and stuff like that?
Yeah. Marvel Strike Force is, depending on what you mean by it, Marvel Strike Force is like a turn-based brawler, not necessarily
Yeah,
quite in the same one this one is. I've been trying to find that because unfortunately, I have moved on from Marvel Strike Force recently, and a lot of my
Okay.
audience has as well. So, like playing this recently, I've had people coming in checking this, be like, "Oh, what is this? This is interesting." But most of them are also jaded Marvel Strike Force players. So, like, it's been a little interesting being like, "No, guys, this is cool. It's new. You got to give this a try." Because most of them are just like, "I thought we were done with this kind of stuff. Like, thought we moved on." I was like, I'm finding it interesting, so I'm kind of finding that love again. But I can't quite put it into words because there is such a limited amount of game to this so far. Like
Yeah.
there is only one game mode. There's only so much to do. So if I do hit a wall, which I haven't really yet, there's not like that. Okay, we're as far as we can make it in the caverns. Let's switch over to the arena and play that for a little bit. Do something else. Like it is just the caverns. I'm not complaining. It's the alpha. I get it. There's a lot more good stuff coming. But right here, right now, there is a limited amount of what you can do. So it has been. I don't know how much my audience has been picking up on this, being like, this is incredible, let's get into this, so much as they're just like, this is interesting and I just want to hang out with you and see what's going on.
That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. No, the reason why I was asking is because I think that that's the thing too, is like turn-based players kind of just like we know or we have certain
Yeah.
preferences because we've played other turn-based games. Specifically, I guess like what would we call this? Like it's not really a SRPG. Is it SRPG or is it just tactics? Right? Is it just
Usually,
tactics?
like I usually refer to it as a hero collector RPG.
Hero collector
Yeah.
Yeah.
RPG, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, that's like one thing. Yeah, I just was interested in knowing that. So I appreciate you for answering that.
No worries. There are systems with this that I'm not used to, and terminology that I have no idea. I think I was listening to one of the podcasts. Somebody was talking about chickens, and you just mentioned like
Oh, yeah.
food, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm assuming that's when you feed like one hero to another hero to get them to the next level.
Yeah, and in
Like,
our
that's-
game, chickens are like the spirits. Yep.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. So that's an interesting system for me because you don't have to do anything like that. Like once you unlock a character, you level them up with shards, but you don't have to like sacrifice other characters to them. So that's one of the things that like, I'm getting used to with this. Where I'm like, no, I don't what do you call them? Don't fall in love with your characters because you might have to just feed this to make your actual characters that you use stronger. Whereas like in my brain, I want to get all the characters. I want to have the full roster of everybody. And it's like, no, they don't matter. Like worry about your top 5 or top 10 characters and just make them as strong as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's like that's one of the things that's been kind of interesting with the leveling system is that I will say at least up front there's a lot of accessibility in terms of like what a duplicate can do. Like so like you have like the ability to use it as food, but then you can also use it for awakening. But then there's also
Or imprint.
like imprint. Yeah, that's what yeah, exactly. Like you have the imprinting too. So it's like in a way, it's like the strategy, and I think that that's what's gonna make some really good content, especially on the release of this game, because I think that that's always like the big bottleneck for a lot of players when they first go into a game is they don't actually understand the value of something. So like they'll look at something and be like, "Oh, this is low rarity, get rid of it." But then it's like, "Wait a minute, like you can use that for 2 different systems." So you might have to dial it back a second and say, "Wait a minute, like what am I possibly going to use this for? Or like, let me look at this character and see what the awakenings are and what abilities do I unlock as I get to invest more into this character before I decide to feed it." And granted, we're moving at a much faster pace, but I think that that's something that I personally been enjoying is that like, and I wasn't sure if it did it, but I was thinking like I know how like in some games like if you feed the exact same character into itself as food, it will also like be utilized as a like for like the
A skill
awakening
upgrade.
system or skill upgrade. Yeah, one of the two. Like it's usually one of those. Was that something that you guys planned to do, or did you want to keep that separate so that players had to make that decision on like you either use it for the awakening or you use it for the imprint or you use it for the food system?
Yeah, because what we want is the game to have a lot of longevity, and we want players to kind of have to make these decisions. Like, okay, I've got a couple copies of this hero. Do I awaken it, or I really want its imprint? Do I do that? And we kind of want these community discussions and to keep because we want there to be value to summoning for the long haul. For you
Yeah.
to always feel like you're getting something for a copy that you get. Like I remember Raid they didn't have anything for a dupe system for like 3.5 years, and it's like
Yeah.
that just felt painful. So because you would summon like your 7th apothecary, and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, can I do something with this? So that was kind of like the pain point we were trying to address with it. And I try to think as like I came from being a content creator, and I'd be so excited to make like these are the top 10 imprints for this character.
Yeah,
These are the top,
exactly.
these are the top 10 rares to make sure you save their imprint or awaken these 5 rares first. Like, I mean, I could make like 1,000 different videos on if I was covering our game. So that's the kind of like the different systems we're trying to have in place. But one thing I do want to get from all of you before we kind of wrap up is what are like the negatives? What are the pain points? And like, be candid, where it's like, okay, this has to get better if you guys want Godforge to be a success because we still have time to ramp up. We still have time to address things. We still have time to obviously the normal stuff like, oh, this, Icarus's wings clip on a like we're gonna fix that stuff. That stuff's gonna be polished. But in terms of like the systems or the look or the aesthetic, like what are the negatives that any of you noticed? I'll kind of let whoever has something on their mind, start.
I have a couple like super small ones that are probably going to get fixed with just the game progressing from this point on. Like nothing like massive that I've come across. There's a lot of knowledge that you can glean just from looking at the screen, right? Like you know exactly who's going to go next. You know exactly what, how close they are to their ultimate and stuff like that, just by like watching what's going on. I really wish you could click on the character and actually see what their name is, how high up a level they are. Like this early on in the game, there's a ton of characters like that person looks cool. Who are they? Like I don't know anything about them. I can't find anything out on the screen. I don't, maybe there is, but I haven't found a way to see how many waves there are. So I'll be sitting there and be like, do I use my ultimate now or do I save it in case there's another wave after this? Whereas like I guess I'm used to where I can see the exact waves, the exact characters coming up. So I'm like, okay, I know this really strong character's coming up. I'm gonna save this for that. And there have been times where like, okay, I'm wasting all of my ultimates, they're all ready to go, and the fight's just over. And you're like, oh, I guess I could have used that and made it a little bit faster. But so just like little quality of life things like there. Also, I'm the kind of character who I need to read things multiple times. So when you're on the hero screen, you can long click the character and it'll bring up all their information. I'd love it. Like there's a blank space in the middle of the screen there. I'd love if you could just click the character and instantly bring up all their information. I know that's a super small thing, but when you're going through like 7 characters in a row, you have to like click off them, long click them, click off them, long click them. It's just there's a blank space there already. Just making you click the character and just
You
brings
mean
up
on the
info.
team building screen where you pop up the hero card, or
on the hero screen, right? Like I'm there
oh,
right
the main
now. So
hero
if I want
screen.
to, yeah, like if I want to look at Ramses, I have to like click on him, long click him, and then if I want to switch somebody else, I have to click off of him, click on the other person, long click them for a while to bring it up. It's again, it's a super small quality of life thing, but that's kind of how
important,
good the
though.
game is
Yeah,
that
it's
I'm pointing
important.
out these little things because I don't have any glaring large ones.
Yeah, there like for the live game, there will be like a wave counter and like a
Yeah.
turn counter and a time counter, and there will also be like DPS meters that you can pull up. So it'll
Nice.
show you like during the run, you know, Ramses has done 187,000 damage. This hero's done this much, and you'll be able to tab through like damage, healing, damage taken. We'll have all those meters up, and then there will also be like an info panel. You'll be able to pull up like a detailed view, and it will show your heroes, the buffs and debuffs they have, like the stats and that type of stuff. So yeah, some of those systems will be in place by live. Yeah.
You're talking about like the little like the Infos logo and the graph logo that are currently dead, but like those are going to be that.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
But like you said, we were like, you know, wait, who is this hero? And like you'll
Yeah.
be able to pull up that info tab, and it'll give you like a more of a detailed breakdown of the fight instead of like the cinematic breakdown of the fight.
Nice.
Yep, that's the plan anyway, as of now.
I assumed it was coming, but it was just the one thing where I'm like, oh, I wish I knew this guy's name. Like the guy with the giant scythe looks so cool. I have no idea who it is.
Shinigami, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he like that's one thing is we were worried about is like because some of our like lower rarity heroes we put so much time to and they're so sick and then we're like, gosh, this person needs to be an epic. Like, you know, we're putting so much effort into these lower rarity heroes. But yeah, Shinigami is awesome with that huge scythe.
Yeah, I guess one thing I can think of, and I guess just because I just experienced so like the release for Ethereum Restart, just went through that, and I think we're creeping up on like the 2-month mark now. And one of the things is like I'm like usually like one of the like super sweat players, and a lot of times like super sweat players can make up in today's time at least. They'll probably make up like 10 to 20% of your community a lot of the times. And then like if there's enough hype, the rest of it will be a lot of casuals, right? Like so I think granted, like I'm understand to the fact it's just the caverns. But one thing I was like kind of thinking of, because I sometimes have to take my like my thought process out of the equation and look at it through the lens of a casual. And when I was like going through a lot of stuff, I was like, most casuals wouldn't even know what any of this crap is. Like they'd do like acid, what's that? Or they wouldn't even understand like like the other day, this is not even a joke. My fiance, she plays a lot of the games that I play, and she's like my casual lens reference. So the other day she like stopped me and she was like, hey, you guys keep saying turn meter. What is that? Right. And so it like kind of made me take a step back, and I was like, wait, how many people genuinely don't know what that is? Like we say it so often, but like somebody coming in, they're like, what is that? Like, you know, this is like what are we talking about? Like what is you know, like ultimate gauge? Like what is that? Like, you know, so for me, what I was like really wondering was if you guys had any sort of like plan for like any system or function to exist to kind of guide players into teaching them what different interactions did, and also like, I guess for lack of better words, kind of like a beginner's kind of guide in a sense that exists within the game that like will take them through like kind of like a reward system of like, hey, do this task, but but the ultimate like goal with it is it's actually teaching them the systems of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we agree with you. So we definitely, by the live game, we want, like, a glossary section where people can go and, tab through what all the status effects do. What does everything on the UI mean? What is an ultimate? What is a cooldown? Like, we wanna walk people through all that stuff and have a place
Okay.
they can go. What we don't wanna do is have a 35-minute tutorial, because then people are just gonna
Fair.
quit. They're gonna be
Yeah,
like, "Screw
fair.
this, I'm done." So what we want to do is kind of just point you to, hey, if you ever do want to spend time reading through stuff and deep dive, this is where that's at. Otherwise, enjoy the game and do your thing. So we
Okay.
do want to kind of explain all that stuff. And we were
Yeah.
actually just talking about this yesterday, is we were talking about trying to explain vulnerable better, because it's like increase the damage inflicted by some of the status effects like acid and blaze and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, do people know what a dot is? Like a damage over time? Like, could
Yeah.
we just say that? Could we say increases DOT effects? And then it's like, what percentage of players would know that? Can they click on it to see what that means? So yeah, these are things that we're constantly wondering, because I agree with you. I absolutely hate it when a game says something, and then I gotta be like alt tab, look on Google.
Yeah.
Okay, like what is this? Like what does this do? And now I'm reading on Google for 10 minutes, or I'm asking Chat GPT, like, do you know this game and what this does?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I just click on it, and why can't the game just show me what it does? Like, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we definitely agree with you. It's good feedback, and it's something that isn't in the alpha, because we haven't had time to polish everything, but we
Fair.
do want that live
Yeah.
in the game. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing this game with 2 monitors. I've got Raven Pyros open up with all their buffs and debuffs and stuff like that, because you can't click on them in the game. So I'm just like, what is this little symbol with the cloak? Oh, it's invisibility. Okay, I can't target that character. Cool.
Yeah, vanish. Yep.
Yeah, fair. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. We were wondering Veil, all these different names that can be for everything. But Bran, did you have anything negative that would be kind of feedback from you?
So two things, kind of small. First one, right now I don't like that you can't use heroes like duplicates at the same time. I don't know if that's
Oh, you
like
mean like
a
you can't put 2 Heimdalls in your
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and I get how that would break it and stuff and all that, but like, I don't know. I think that that'd be like for I don't know, like in the essence of raid, like I've only ever been a like a casual-ish, maybe a little bit above casual raid player and stuff, but like the teams where it's like, you can use all of one dude and just wipe everything and stuff like that. I think that's fun just for like team building and stuff. So like, I don't know if that's just for alpha or for testing purposes, or if you guys have any plans to like allow that later on or not. That's just like one thing that I noticed that I couldn't do. And I only tried it once and I was like, ah, that's fine. And I haven't thought about it since, but it is something I thought about. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's something we've discussed a lot. Right now the
mhm,
plan probably will be to limit you to 1 copy, but
gotcha.
the reason being is because on launch, our kits are going to lean towards the more crazy, more powerful side. Like, so the problem, because I agree with you, we wanted to give people the freedom to, if you want to use 3 Heimdalls and 2 Aphrodites, go ahead. We wanted people, but the problem we were running into is like, now we have to really water down how powerful these heroes are, because you're going to run into situations where you just get 4 copies of Heimdall, you blast everything because of some broken mechanic, and now you have no incentive to use any other heroes ever. So
Makes sense.
that's the struggle, is we do want the freedom, but it kind of broke our ability to design powerful abilities, because if we
Okay.
limit you to 1, now we can make Heimdall super strong. If we allow you to use 5 Heimdalls, now we have to water down Heimdall.
That
So
makes sense.
that's the push and the pull. But you never know. We're gonna be
Yeah.
discussing these things, and that's what the feedback's for.
I like that
Yeah.
explanation, honestly, because it does allow you to lean into a character rather than hold back on them. So, especially since you're trying to make every character as unique as possible and stuff, it really allows you to do that instead of, like you said, watering them down and stuff, making them less them and more, appeasable to, I mean, amenable, whatever where it's English.
Mutable?
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go.
we know what you
Well,
meant.
and
Yes.
even coming from like a lore perspective, like every character in this game, or most of the characters in the game, are so like powerful. Like we've got gods, creatures of mythology. Like I don't want to use the same character multiple times. I want him to feel as powerful as possible and have a one-off personally. Like I get from a game perspective, but from a lore perspective, I only want one Thor. I don't want 5 Thors on my team. That'd be weird.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, that is another vein, but it's definitely good feedback because you're right. It is fun to have that freedom. I remember when Overwatch launched, and it was kind of fun to run the meme teams like 5 divas and just do crazy stuff. And then Blizzard had to be like, okay, only one of each hero because y'all are crazy.
Yep.
So
Golly.
I agree with that. And one feedback I've seen a lot, like just lurking in Twitch streams and YouTube videos and stuff, is that people saying like the game doesn't look as good as they were hoping it would, like like graphically. And like the models and the base that we're working with are very high quality, but what we need time to do is to polish. Like if you look at the alpha of Overwatch, even, which is a $100 million game, you're gonna be like, what? That's what Overwatch looked like in the alpha? Like, are you kidding me? So like
Yeah.
that stuff will ramp up as we polish and ramp up the team and we get the core systems done. Now we can focus on, okay, let's make it look and sound as good as possible.
Yeah.
So that stuff
Yeah.
will ramp up, but that is feedback I've seen a lot kind of out there in the community.
Yeah. I've been trying my best with my base knowledge because that's all I do is alpha test and localize games and do stuff like that. I think that's kind of like that kind of ends up being on us at the end of the day, like for whoever's in our audience, kind of explaining what an alpha is, because some people don't differentiate what a beta and what an alpha is. And I've like done so many alphas, like my audience now knows, like, okay, we're just looking at base things. We're not, like, so I keep it that simple. Guys, it's just about the base stuff. We're not looking to see if like, Darth Vader's gonna have Anakin in the chokehold and VX, stuff flying through the sky. Like, we're not looking for that. We're looking to see what core mechanics and things that exist. And even the feedback I was getting from when I streamed the other day, a lot of it was funny because a lot of people were like, this doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to. And I was like, okay, well, that's a plus,
Yeah.
that's better than just bad, right? So I think overall it does look like really solid. And the core things that need to be there are definitely there, which I think is like really important.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
No,
Yeah,
I think
I'd agree.
I think it looks amazing. Like me personally, and maybe not so much the environments and stuff like that, just because I can tell some of it isn't, like you said, polished, but like the characters and stuff, even for not being polished, which I know they're not, look amazing, both in design and just like actual in game look great. So,
Yeah.
talking
yeah,
about
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my second thing too. So I know Simon mentioned it in one of the Fateless videos. And I have to start by asking a question real quick. And you may not be able to answer it, but is the plan to have animations for characters' ults be like Ra and Leonidas? Like kind of cinematic, camera moving around and stuff like that, like those types of animations?
Yeah,
Is
we
that the
call
plan?
it bespoke, where they get
Okay.
where they get like a special animation.
Yes.
Probably for legendaries, ideally.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it'll be like all the way down to like every single rare.
Mhm.
But I would say I think for most legendaries, the goal is to give them like a like a unique idol breaker and maybe
Mhm.
an ultimate animation. So yeah, that's kind of the goal, I would think. I'd have to ask
Okay.
Simon and them to be sure. But
Okay.
from what I've heard in meetings, I think that's the goal anyway.
Perfect. Okay. So I was just curious because I when he Simon said in the video, he said that someone was getting motion sick playing from the cinematic camera. And I was like, "Ah, yeah, it's fine. I get motion sick. Like I have to drive in the car. If I don't, I'm
Oh,
gonna be
really?
out down
Okay.
for the count. Yeah, like it's bad." And I was like, "No, I'll be fine. I've never gotten motion sick playing a game." I did. I had to turn it off. Like I'm on top view now because I was like, it's beautiful, like, I love it, but for some reason, I just can't do it. I could not sitting there just watching it, and I was like, "I have to change it." And I was, like, sad. I was like, I don't want that to happen." So that's my main thing is, like, and with Leonidas, even though I'm on top view, it triggers animation, his bespoke animation, whatever. I would just
And you're saying that so you're trying to avoid it, but it's still bothering you a little bit.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it does. It doesn't bother me enough to where like I get sick or anything like that. But if there would be a way to make sure that those don't play, or like in some games, like mainly like the anime games and stuff like that, they have it to where you play it once a day or something like that. Like, so you still see it, but it's not always triggering. So like for every time a player or a character does their ultimate, it's triggering this movement and stuff like that. That would be my main. And you
Yeah,
guys
we'll
might have plans to do that, but I
yeah,
was
we'll
just
probably have a setting in the options where you can like, turn on stability or turn off, any sort of special movements and stuff like that. Because like also on some of those views where you're like in the 3/4 view with the isometric, it still like rotates a lot and like spins. And I know some people are like, I don't like that. I just want it to be stable. So yeah, by the time we hit the polish phase, we definitely we don't want anybody to be miserable playing our game and shut it off. So we'll definitely try to have as many of those settings as possible.
Yeah, no, I plan on using the actual cinematic view like when I'm recording videos and stuff, but when I'm just sitting here playing and it's playing in the background, I don't want to every time look over and be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Like,
It is a lot when you're farming, a dungeon for 6 hours. It is a lot to kind of have that
mhm.
firing off in all directions for 6 hours. So I agree with you. That's why we want the multiple. That's some feedback we got. People were like, I don't want this cinematic view. I just want the top view. I just want to see my team. You better not force me to do that. It's like, no, we're not gonna force you. There will be multiple. There'll be multiple different camera views for sure. But I know we're kind of wrapping up or getting close to the end here. Was there any burning things that any of you wanted to get in before we wrap up? Or did we cover the top thoughts? Okay, cool. Well
It's an
then,
amazing game.
Pretty good
That's
shit.
it.
very nice. Well, Mongooli, everybody's first time here on the channel, we give them an opportunity to tell us what is a hero or myth or legend that would be
Ooh.
kind of your favorite that you would be like, hey, I really wish you guys would put this in Godforge because it would be a sick hero to have. So we've had answers like William Wallace from Braveheart, like stuff like
Okay.
that. Like, is there anybody you think would be like super sick to get in the game?
This is probably a bit of a cheat. I don't know if you'll be able to do it ever because it's a different IP. But like as soon as I started thinking about this game, the first character that keeps coming to mind anytime somebody mentions like Zeus or somebody is like Kratos. I don't know that that's ever possible, but my God, would I love Kratos in this game?
Yeah. That would fit our like universe perfectly for sure.
Yeah.
And you never know. We may be able to pull stuff like that off in live ops once once everything is kind of done and there's a track record of a player base and all that. We might be able to reach out for some making some things like that happen for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
That'd be really cool.
Well, hey, thanks guys. This has been a blast chopping it up and talking about the alpha. And we will link to their channels down below so you can check out their content. And then also things like the Discord server. Pop in, let us know what you think about the game so far and give us your feedback as well. So thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Appreciate it. And we'll see you
All
soon
right,
in the
thank
next
you.
Fateless podcast
Thanks for having
episode.
me.
Cheers.